where are we right now?
So I heard your recap, and that's a pretty good one. I think, sadly, what we're doing is probably wrestling over a few details that when Nancy Pelosi got involved, it got to be somewhat of a laundry list on things extraneous to helping small businesses, wage earners that have been displaced, let alone, that bigger emergency stabilization fund, which gives a general liquidity to the economy. I think that's shameful because we were working as good as we have since I've been here among senators through Wednesday or through Sunday evening over the weekend. I was weighing in on the small business package. And then all of a sudden we hear, well, there might be a House bill. And you heard the laundry list. Many of us were on the floor yesterday. It really got down to three areas, and you mentioned them: hospitals, state and local governments, and transparency on the stabilization fund. And I was okay with all three of them. And why we were dilly-dallying when the American public is watching, and I just hung up with a business owner in Indiana before I came here, they are worried about what we are doing here because we've caused it by trying to tamp the disease down. And I heard you talk about President Trump wanting to get back to normal. That's going to be the only cure for the malaise that we're feeling in the business world. It's a tricky convergence, though, on that point where we don't want to lose what we've gained by trying to knock the disease back, but we don't want to flatten the economy in the process.
Well, understood, but I want to pick up on a couple of things you said here. First off, we have had some comments from Nancy Pelosi that she is actually, it looks like she's warming up to the Senate bill. Obviously, she feels like her voice has been heard, so I think it's looking like more and more you may get her support. That's one thing. Also, you talked about small businesses. Obviously, they are taking the brunt of this from a financial perspective. Forget the market, it's small businesses. There's $350 billion in small business loans, as we understand it, that's in this package, whether it's $1.6 trillion or $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you clarify? Can you clarify that part?
So it'll be done through the Small Business Administration in terms of the portal, but these loans will be available through almost any bank. And what it's designed to do is to cover your payroll and your principal and interest payments and or leases through about a 3-month period. And if you use it for that purpose only, most of it gets forgiven. So it would be the place to go if you're trying to decide, well, with no customers and no business, do I want to keep my employees in place? That's what the guy I hung up with just a moment ago is worried about, because talked to a hotel owner in Indy, had 2% occupancy in a place that would normally be filled up. That's how hard it's hit bars and restaurants, hotels, airlines, and much more disproportionately than many other places in the economy.
Are you comfortable with this? A lot of from what we've heard, the Democrats have been frustrated, and this really kind of dug their heels on, was that $500 billion that would go out to businesses. Is there agreement to have some kind of oversight board with that $500 billion part of this, or whether it's a inspector general or whatever they're going to call it? Is there agreement now on that issue?
So as a Main Street entrepreneur, I had no issues with that full accountability, and I don't know why anyone, even though this isn't a bailout, this is a loan, why you wouldn't want full transparency. And I thought that probably drugged the discussions out a little longer than what it should have been. Most of my Republican cohorts, most of the Democrats that were working on this were good with full transparency. Maybe Steve Mnuchin or somebody wanted less of it. That should not be a stumbling block, and I think we're through that.
Senator,
that's why I don't know why we're not done with it.
And hopefully you're going to be done this afternoon, but real quick before I let you go, I'm about out of time, but I have to ask you, if, say, a company like Boeing comes to you and they want part of this, they want the loans, the bailout, whatever you want to call it, do you support an equity, pursuing or pushing for an equity stake in large American corporations that go to the government for help at this crisis?
As a free enterprise guy, I don't like the idea of that. I know there was some of that went on with TARP back in 08, 09, and everybody did come out okay with it. I think in the short run, when you've got something like this where it blindsides you. Boeing has problems deeper than just the airline industry with no demand currently. So I would take a careful look at it. Whatever we do, this should be to get through this, and then you get rid of all this so none of it stays around and gets built in to what we do here anyway, losing $1 trillion a year with $23 trillion in debt. So.
Senator Mike Braun, it was good to have you on here, and we certainly, please keep us posted as this vote hopefully makes it down to the floor. Thank you, sir.
Will do.